Good evening here. We are live at Circuit of the Americas here for Season 2, Round 1 of the RySa GT3 Championship on iRacing here. It's a beautiful day here in Circuit of the Americas in virtual Austin, Texas here. 0 degrees centigrade, zero humidity, clear skies, and relatively zero wind speed here. Amazing day here. Jose, what are we looking for here tonight? I know you had some words earlier about the track and the car setup here. What do you think we're going to be expecting here today?
Circuit of the Americas. Well, good evening, everybody. To start off with, and thank you for joining us tonight. As Anthony said, it is Season 2, Round 1 here at Circuit of the Americas for the iRysa GT3 Championship. And yes, I certainly have my thoughts on this track. But speaking of GT cars at Circuit of the Americas, it's going to be an interesting race tonight, specifically through the S's. I've always had a very difficult time running a GT car at this track, so I'm curious to see how these drivers are going to adapt tonight and actually see what I can learn from them as well.
You're definitely right. It's definitely one of the most difficult parts of the track here, mimicking the S's at Suzuka over in Japan. Definitely one of the more awkward parts of the track is you want to have good entry speed, and it's definitely a multiple series of compromise turns, as the way you enter one turn determines your exit on the next turn. So timing and patience is crucial in those parts of the track. But that's just one part of the track here. The rest of the drivers here will have to contest with the rest of the track here in order to see who would be the victor tonight in our race here. But here we go with practice underway here. We're about 7 minutes left to go here in the session here as we follow along a driver here. It looks to be, there's a lot of new tracks here tonight. It seems like our drivers have done some research here and they've sort of strayed away from the typical AMG Mercedes here as we follow along Emo Fittipaldi, who has decided to go with the Audi R8 tonight. As we see him here, about now as I speak, actually, the reverse commentator's curse has gotten him, and he's purple for the session now, with about 6 minutes here
And it looks
left
like
to
he's
go.
probably pulling back to the pits there. See if
Probably
we
going to
can
make a little quick adjustment.
jump over to Francisco Crecia over here, car number 54. See what he's up to as he comes up. One of the other Ferraris. Who's he got in front of him? Eduardo Pecorini. He's got in front of him right now. So, a lot of Ferraris tonight, Anthony. Right?
Yeah, a lot of Ferraris here. It seems like our drivers did some due diligence here and did a lot of testing and sorting. It seems like word got out that the Ferrari is the preferred car here at Circuit of the Americas, probably due to its mid-engine setup here.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that given that iRacing dropped some new updates today, actually, because of the new season, I believe that this car has also received some new updates directly from iRacing. So
So,
it's going to be nice to
such
see
as
how it handles.
such as a new tire model.
Believe it was new tire model, new audio upgrades, so it's going to sound a little bit better. And just overall handling, it's going to be interesting. I actually had one of the drivers messaging me asking about setups, so I'm going to see if some of these drivers are running different setups tonight.
That'll make a huge difference, that's for sure. So can't wait to see what happens here. We continue on with Franco Cresci here. I'm over here at the pits looking at. Oh, it looks like he disappeared. It seems like. Let me confirm something real quick. On my end.
Looks like we're
Yeah,
missing car
Diego
number 2
here.
there. Or car in P2.
I'm
See if I can reset the
trying to
overlay.
confirm here, but I think the Iglesias brothers are rocking matching paint schemes. So I'm trying to confirm here.
Looks like one of them's running a red one and the other one's running a green one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's what I'm trying to confirm here real quick. So I switch over to the cameras on my end. Nope, they're just awfully similar. It was pretty cool of them to be rocking that.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the brothers out on the grid together.
And on track together. They're definitely one of the top contenders. Definitely top 5, top 10. Usually, actually, one in front of the other. So imagine that dinner table conversation at the
Yeah,
end of the
for
night.
real. That must be an interesting conversation. That must be fun though. Not very many, not many times where you can. Well, I guess you can have brothers and siblings in other types of sports, but definitely not something you can do in the comfort of your own home. And
Oh no, Imagine the Schumacher brothers back in the day.
I know. Could you imagine if they were on a simulator back then? That would have been a fun story to tell if the Schumacher brothers were on their racing simulators. For some reason,
Some
we're not showing P2 on the overlay there. I'm going to see if I can just figure that out here on my end. As we come up on the about last 5 minutes here of practice. I believe we're doing, what kind of qualifying are we doing, Anthony? Let me check here to just confirm. Looks like we're doing lone qualifying, so we'll be having to hang out here while the drivers all do their qualifying sessions, and then we'll start over with our first heat tonight.
will do.
And let's see if we can jump on board some of these drivers, see if get a quick lap around the track here before we move over into qualifying. Jumping on board here, Cesar Lapointe, as he's in the Ferrari coming up towards the S's right now. Let's see how he takes this, coming down into fourth gear and just really balancing the car. You really have to be super gentle on the steering wheel coming down into third gear and just making sure that the car is super balanced through here, and then start running up through the gears, coming down into first gear nice and slow. Looks like he's pulling off track there, letting some cars by. He's going to be coming up in the long back straights now. He's going to go a little bit wide there over the curb into first gear and down the back straight. Gonna have a really good run down the back straight here. And I think this track, another one of the I think key points of this track is that that triple apex where you see a lot of the Formula One cars being able to take that completely flat out. You're not going to see that in a GT car, but knowing the limits of that corner are very important because you can gain a lot of time through there.
Yeah, I'll quickly say something about that before I let you finish the rest of the lap. That every time that turn, I think it's one way. I see other drivers do it a different way. So it's definitely another one of the more important challenges here at the track, Jose.
Yeah, it's great to see all these drivers using their abilities, and it's fun to see how some drivers take a different line or just approach the corner differently, and it's just interesting to see that. As we round up the last 90 seconds here of practice, we'll jump back over to the race information screen, let our drivers run through their 10-minute qualifying session.
Want to go ahead and extend a shout out to Bobby Ross here from a Matt Gilbert. He says, Ross, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
Haha, what's up, Matt? How are you? And our boy Alessandro De Tullio looks like I think he's running an F3 race tonight.
And a good luck to him. Our season 1 runner-up. With about 40 seconds remaining here, your top 5 in the practice session is Fittipaldi, Redmond, Pecorini, and Croatia here. Definitely some strong competition here in practice here. Interesting to see what happens as we go into lone qualifying next round here, and it could be anyone's game here. Well, big factor determining qualifying would be qualifying setups here. Most drivers will switch on over to a different type of setup. Usually that just consists of fuel levels dropping down to the minimum requirement. Some will even go as far as changing ride heights to compensate for the lack of weight. but let's see what other drivers have up their sleeves.
Yeah, and it's going to be a heavy Ferrari grid tonight. Um, Quite a bit more Mercedes-Benz, and just looking at seeing 4 Audis running tonight. So definitely that Ferrari is going to be a big contender tonight. And it looks like qualifying is just getting underway. So over the next 10 minutes, you'll start seeing names start to pop up on the leaderboard, and you'll start seeing qualifying times pop up. So as I said earlier, it's going to be a 10-minute qualifying session. We'll move over onto the grid, where it's just about 2 minutes to grid up. It's going to be a rolling start or standing start, Anthony.
It will be a standing start tonight here, and it is a lone qualifying session here just to make sure nobody gets any advantages from a aerodynamic tow, and that way also everybody can get a clean lap in, no traffic whatsoever. So we're just gonna head and sit tight and wait until we see some drivers go ahead and start out. Can't really see them on screen right now, but as we speak, they're starting out their out laps. They'll be going around, beginning their flying lap, and then sooner or later we're going to see it on screen, their first lap of the heat, so long as it's clean. That's what iRacing mandates. All qualifying laps must be clean.
Exactly. So if for whatever reason even a driver wants to accidentally drop a tire, that's going to invalidate their lap. They do have, I believe it's 3 or 4 laps they have to make their qualifying lap, but they're definitely going to want to make sure that they keep it clean, that they keep it safe, and that they keep their racecraft in check, even if it's lone qualifying, because that's what's really going to make the difference in terms of getting that top lap time. Looks like all drivers are still in the pits, getting ready, finishing up those last minute setup, and hopefully in a few seconds here we'll start seeing some cars rolling out on track, and in about say about 2 to 3 minutes we'll start seeing some lap time popping up on the board.
Don't think I've seen him yet, but RC Anderson, our season 1 champion, hasn't shown up yet. He was our top driver in last night's practice session here, followed by Diego Iglesias and Mo Fittipaldi Jr. and Eduardo Pecorini, followed by Franco Chapullo here. Let's see if that order maintains itself. Actually, I don't think. Did you see Franco on that list just now, Jose?
Um, I see him here on the grid. He's in the Ferrari tonight.
Okay, good to see him. Franco coming back after a very enjoyable vacation with his family here. Glad to see him back on track.
And now that we're back for season 2, we're going to be, as we've already mentioned tonight, we'll be at Circuit of the Americas tonight, followed by Laguna Seca, and followed by Daytona International Speedway. As of right now, our last session is still under review, and we're still trying to figure out where we're going to take our drivers for the end of the season.
That would make a pretty great schedule. Can't wait to see what the rest of the season unfolds.
And 4 minutes in, still not seeing any drivers outside of the pits, so it's gonna be a close one if drivers don't make it out onto the track now to set a qualifying lap time, because this track is a little bit long, so they're definitely gonna have to um, see when they're gonna be able to get out and put a lap time in. All right, looks like we've got some lap time starting to come in now. Diego Iglesias with a 2:08, Ryan Amoyo with a 2:11, Bobby Ross with a 2:11.3, and Pedro Iglesias with a 2:12.0.
Haven't seen Fittipaldi come in yet, or Franco. Let's go ahead and see. It could be anyone's game. They probably dropped a quick tire here. No matter. They have about 5 minutes remaining to come around and do another lap. Maybe slip a third.
And looks like Bobby Ross got pushed down to P4 by Alexander Seal with a 2:11. Franco Chiapullo coming in at P2 with a 2:10.
Bobby Ross here has definitely done some practice here. He's now a top 5 driver amongst the GT3 crowd here. Definitely one of the more improved drivers.
And right now it's a full-on 1, 2, 3, 4 Ferrari, followed by the 2 Mercedes. So it's gonna be quite cool to see how these Ferraris act up tonight.
And I do believe a curveball has been thrown. Alessandro Di Tullio has decided to join us here.
He's gonna be skipping out on that Formula 3 race and joining us.
With no practice in, let's see what happens.
A lot of people can't get in, I guess, because there's only 8 drivers there.
We're live.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sure they'll be coming in any minute now. There we go. We got another one here. They probably just dropped the wheel on their first lap. They were doing some last minute setup changes. Got a 10th driver here on board.
And Rudy Ramdaru putting in a lap time of 2:13, setting him up for P10. And Franco just got dropped down to P3 by Eduardo Pecorini with a 2:09.3. And that's actually in the Audi, so one of the few Audis running up to the top of the grid now. And with 2 minutes left in qualifying, our top 5 is Diego Iglesias, Eduardo Pecorini, Franco Chiapullo, Matias Orjuela, and Ryan Amoyo.
You know, if you would have told me that El Salvador has some pretty talented race car drivers, I would have never believed you. But we've got a 1-2 filling in that role here in our qualifying session thus far. And they've been these two guys, the Iglesias brothers and Pecorini, and also not to mention, I think, young Francisco Crecio. Definitely some talented drivers there from Central America.
Yeah, and it's great to see how iRysa has been able to connect drivers from all parts of the country and all parts of the world. I know that iRysa has been quite a big name in the Caribbean, here in South Florida. So it's really great to see how iRysa has been able to take these drivers, and obviously due to current events, but it's also great to see how all these drivers from all over have been able to connect with each other again.
100%.
And we've got about 30 seconds here left in qualifying, so we're going to be getting ready to grid up in a few seconds here. looks like qualifying is over. Moving
And
on
there's
over
our
to the grid. And
Okay, so here we go. We're going to get ready to start our grid. Starting on pole position, Diego Iglesias, followed by David Redman, Francisco Croatia, Eduardo Pecorini, Franco Chapullo, Matias Orjuela, Ryan Amoyes, Alexander Salin in 8th, Bobby Ross in 9th, Jordan Hernandez in 10th, Pedro Iglesias in 11th, and Alessandro De Tullio with no practice coming in at 12th on the grid. Jose?
And in P13, Rudy Ramsarou. P14, George DiPiero, followed by Robert Garcia and Emil Fittipaldi Jr., Xander Williams, Luke Baholo, Juan Arenas, Cesar Lapointe in P21, Frankie Barroso in 24, and Tyler Delgado in P23. Rounding up the last of the grid is uh, Juan Juan Arenas at Tyler Delgado in P23, Frankie Barroso in 24, and Alejandro Arias in P25, and finishing up with Anthony Rand in P26.
And there's our grid with about 48 seconds left to go. Jose, what are we looking for here in turn 1 here? We got a pretty massive, steep climb up to get to turn 1 here with a sharp right-left-hander here. What do you think is going to happen here into turn 1?
I'm really just hoping the drivers are able to keep it nice and steady and nice and clean. This is going to be a very tough, very blind corner into turn 1. Cars are really going to bunch up, so we definitely want to see some cars just giving each other space, but it's racing, so it's going to be tough to get those drivers to give any kind of room.
Definitely. I don't think the cars will be too fast coming into turn 1 here as they're coming from a standing start. So maybe the drivers will give each other room going into turn 1 here. As we're about a second ago to see the lights going off here. Got the lights will be coming on any minute now. We got the drivers impatiently waiting here. There are the lights.
And here come the lights.
And season 2 will get underway here as we go lights off, and away we go at Circuit of the Americas here. We've got Diego Iglesias taking it off here, pulling away from David Redman here. Oh, and there's a massive pileup
Big
here
accident
in the mid-pack here as soon as the race has started. Not what I expected here, and we're going off into turn 1 here. Diego Iglesias still maintaining his lead, taking a solid lead going off from the rest of the cars here against Croatia, Redman, and Pecorini.
Let's watch a quick replay of that green flag again, see if we can get a bit of a different angle here. See what happened there at the beginning of the race towards the back of the field. Kind of a big mess that I can't even seem to catch up on here.
Might want to focus on the driver further beyond the back.
We'll try to get another replay of that in a bit. We'll go back to live pictures for now.
And there we have Luke Baholo, who's decided to switch to the Ferrari this week. A massive Ferrari mid-pack here as we're looking on board. We've got only 2 Ferraris in the lead pack. The rest are some German machines in the middle there, followed by the rest of the Italian stallions.
Looks like we got another accident with Frankie Barroso. Let's take a look and see what happened over here. Big contact there with one of the Mercedes, and as one of the Ferraris trying to come back around, looks like he made contact with that other Ferrari there, that red Ferrari.
Bit of a chaotic start to season 2.
Jumping on board here with Diego Iglesias. Seems like he's got a nice, clean lead, and he seems to be quite relaxed in that Ferrari. He's got Francisco Croatia behind him, about 1.8 seconds, and that gap seems to be increasing as Diego Iglesias continues to move on forward and push on forward.
Diego showing us how it's done as he goes purple and he extends the lead to Croatia, but Croatia hasn't given up here. As I say that lead has shrunk to less than 2 seconds compared to 2 seconds here, but we have Pecorini here going away on. I think he might have hugged that little curb a little too much there. Might have lost some speed going out of turn 1.
Jumping on board. Oh, sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, jumping on board here with Emma Fittipaldi Jr., son of Emerson Fittipaldi, in one of the, I think the 4 Audis. He's running P4 right now with the other Audi of Edoardo Pecorini running in P3.
And I can't really. My screen's a little blurry. Pecorini's in an Audi as well, correct?
Yes, he is. Car number 44.
And let's see who currently is our hard charger right now.
Looks like we've got Santiago and Joel in our YouTube chat. Give me some support to Mr. David Redman. So we want to thank everybody that's watching right now, and really appreciate, and I'm sure all the drivers appreciate the support you guys give them.
The drivers are supporting each other as well. If we got some drivers here cheering on Emo to go ahead and close the gap he's got against Pecorini, with about a 4-second gap here, he has to close up here. Or excuse me, let me do some quick maths here. About 2.5-second actually gap between Pecorini and Fittipaldi here.
And it looks like Alessandro De Tullio running in P10, so he's jumped up 2 positions from his starting position. So let's see, already on lap 2, let's see how many positions he's able to make up. We know that he's quick, so it's going to be interesting to see how many positions he makes up by the end of the race.
As I'm looking on to see who was our hard charger, which is currently Fittipaldi, I couldn't help but notice Franco might have been involved in that lap 1, turn 1 incident there. He is 13 spots down, unfortunately, and marked as out of the race.
Looks like he
Sad to see that.
Sitting in the pits there.
Not the start he wanted as he gets back under racing from going vacation. Jose?
Absolutely. I mean, he was gone for about a week and a half, and I'm sure itching to get back in the simulator and get back into a race. So it's definitely not the way I'm sure he wanted to start off his week today on iRacing. Let's see if we can pull up a replay here of that start again. See if we can see that mess in the start. See somebody else that started towards the back. Let's jump on board with Rudy here and see what happened. No, it looks like it was a little bit further up the pack there. See something. There we go. Well, it looks like it started quite early as one of the cars got off the grid there. Might have been a little bit of wheel spin there.
Bit off more than he could chew there, trying to get close to the wall.
And jumping on board here, Matias Orjuela, one of the young karting drivers here in Miami. Another one of the top, one of the faster drivers here tonight. And Anthony, you know a lot about, well, you know some about these karting drivers, because some of them are actually active karting drivers here in South Florida.
That I do. Matias Orjuela is a very accomplished mini driver here. Definitely a micro champion. That's the step below mini he's in right now, and he's currently a factory driver. I actually don't remember right now which one, because I think he's in between teams. Either I know he started with Parolin, and I think he might have gone. Started with Praga, and he might have been now with Parolin. Both fine chassis manufacturers based in Italy, and he's there before the pandemic, obviously, driving in the WSK series here, a very prestigious Italian karting championship, with definitely some pedigree to that championship, as a bunch of Formula One drivers have done it and have gone on to do the FIA karting championship and soon transitioning into cars and into Formula One.
It's a great way to get up there.
So Someone else that competes in that series, if I do say so, would be Fittipaldi, but he competes in the junior category, one of the higher up categories.
That's right.
The
They're
card.
actually doing a little bit of traveling as well. I saw that Emo was up. I think he was upstate, or I think where. I think he might have been up in Charlotte or
He
something.
was at GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina,
North Carolina.
one of the finest karting tracks in America, and the sister track of our local track, AMR Motorplex.
Actually saw that he got a chance to sit in one of the new Indy cars with the big aero screen. So it's kind of funny to see him and his dad. Um, they both look pretty tiny in that big Indy car.
Yeah, they definitely that aero screen takes up a lot more real estate now.
Yep.
I saw the picture too. It was pretty funny, and I was glad to see that he got to sit in one of those. I'm sure Emma would love to drive one of those.
For sure. Hoping to see him follow in his dad's footsteps and make it all the way up to F1.
His dad's, his brothers, or brother-in-laws. I'm not sure what exactly the family is. Excuse me, but definitely, yeah, great to see another Fittipaldi in F1 one day. And as I say that, I do believe he went purple a couple minutes ago. I'm seeing here on my screen, so it's a little delayed, but yeah, good to see Fittipaldi's charging hard, still trying to close that gap. Oh, he did pass Beccarini, that's right, but now he's on his way to Croatia.
And you're right, Anthony. He did go purple with a 207. And speaking of Fittipaldi's, one of the bigger YouTubers, Jimmy Broadbent, he was just in a race with Emerson, just like I think 2 days ago. It was a Formula 3 race at Laguna Seca, and unfortunately Jimmy Broadbent tagged Emerson in the back and spun him out.
I saw that. That's definitely the one thing you never ever want to do.
Right.
You're given one chance.
You get one chance to be on track with a legend. Don't take him out.
The guys here in the iRysa series got the chance to be on track with the legend at one point. I don't know if you caught that wind of that.
That's true. I did hear about that. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
So within our group chat that we have here for the series that we use to communicate all news and events and results and whatnot, young Emo let it slip that his dad hopped in on one of the practice sessions while he was away.
Look at that. I mean, where else are you going to be able, on a Monday night, to be able to get on track with somebody like that? Massive thanks to iRacing for literally changing the lives of so many people and giving so many people an opportunity to do something like this. And already on lap 6 for our first heat tonight. We'll be running up through the next 2 laps here. Our drivers will have a short warm-up session to get ready for our next and final heat for Season 2, Round 1 here at Circuit of the Americas.
Just to piggyback on what we were talking about with amazing what iRacing has done with the community and drivers and whatnot, and ironically, we're focusing in on him right now. Bobby was texting me the other day saying he managed to actually get into a local race, an official race, with Casey Stoner, the MotoGP rider.
And I see that a lot where a lot of athletes from even just different different sports, they're all making their way onto iRacing. I think that iRacing, where I guess a lot of kids grew up whether they were playing on a PlayStation or they were playing on their computer, but racing games have I think been a big part of a lot of people's lives, whether they're big into racing or not. So now seeing all these athletes like soccer stars, obviously some of these soccer stars are great friends with Formula One drivers. So to see them come into this world of racing, it's really cool to see them just be able to share time and be able to do something like this with other athletes around the world.
Definitely. I've probably yet to see some of those athletes, the non-racing athletes. I have a feeling that it may be some of those European footballers, but I'm a little ignorant with those. So if our paths do cross, I'm sure it'll be pretty epic.
Yeah, and just going back to just a few weeks ago when, right before our Nürburgring session, we've talked about it before, but we had the chance.
It's worth mentioning again.
Absolutely. I mean, again, where else are you going to have that chance? But the three of us were on track with Max Verstappen.
Mm-hmm. And I believe right when COVID happened, I was with Felipe Nassar, and current, I believe he's full. Yeah, he is full time now, not part time IndyCar driver.
Yes.
And there was one time I was with a lobby with Oliver Askew. That one was pretty good too.
And another Felipe that just got on board with iRacing just a few months ago was Felipe Massa. Um, I know that Alessandro was actually racing with him in a private session. They were doing some Formula 3 testing at Spa.
That's
So
true.
very cool to see him on iRacing.
Yeah, I like Felipe Massa. He's I'm not gonna say he lives here, but he does come here sometimes over to Miami for at AMR Motorplex. He's got a family member that races as well, and I've seen him before on track. He's pretty fast, and the cool thing that I like about Felipe is that he's I don't know. There's a good way to say this, but he's a man of action. As he's I believe maybe to this day, but I know at one point he was the president of the FIA Karting Association.
Yep,
So
you're absolutely right.
pretty much he is the the go-to man in terms of worldwide karting.
I definitely enjoyed him, and his time in Formula One. When whether he was at Ferrari or at Williams, I'll never forget that race, his last race in Brazil. His quote-unquote last race, because that was the season when Rosberg won the championship, and Felipe ended up being called back to fill in a place. But when he crashed out in Brazil, and seeing
Ooh.
all of the teams come out and clap for him. I mean, I've got to admit that even I got emotional watching something like that.
He definitely did bow out gracefully there. He
Yes, he
definitely
did.
did bow out gracefully. If I remember correctly. Oh, what I was gonna say, he's probably arguably, other than Emerson and Senna, probably the most influential Brazilian F1 driver to date. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
I would think him and Barrichello 100%.
Yeah.
And Barrichello's another one that lives around here in the South Florida area. I think a little bit more
Orlando.
north, and yeah, Orlando or West Palm. Or is it Orlando or West Palm?
Orlando. I've noticed he's up there a lot.
Okay. And we're
But
actually. Oh, sorry, Anthony. Go ahead.
But yeah, we're here over in Austin. Oh, I thought he was in the last lap, last turn by now. Excuse me. He is on the last lap.
Yes, he
We've got
is.
Diego Iglesias here with a 3-second lead, trying to finish it up here in race one to take some sweet points to start off the season.
Diego Iglesias definitely kept it clean and showed us all how it is to really handle this track as best as possible. He's coming up through the last several corners. Still with about a 3-second gap to Emma Fittipaldi.
I'm looking at his laps right now, and he is very, very consistent. His the meat of his laps, literally, his between laps 2 and 6 were all about only 3/10 of each other. So.
And Emma's held on to that 207. Definitely still the fastest lap of the race.
And his consistency has paid off, as Diego Iglesias is your round one winner here. Excuse me, race one winner of round one of the new season of the iRysa GT3 series.
As he goes off track there, he's followed by Emma Fittipaldi in P2, Francisco Crecia in P3, Eduardo Pecorini in P4, and David Redman in P5. It's going to round up your top five for tonight for our race 1, heat 1 here for the season 2 opener at Circuit of the Americas. Drivers are going to go into their warm-up period now, and we'll get restarted here for our second race of the night.
Great. So, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to go to a brief intermission real quick just to warm up the drivers here and also maybe discuss any possible penalties from this race we just witnessed. So, be back in about 10 minutes, or less actually, 5 minutes to say, to go green. I have no string, by the way.
Stand by. All right, and we're back.
We are back indeed. We're just about to finish the warm-up here. Got about a couple seconds ready to go. 30 seconds left here. In our warm-up here, we've had a brief intermission. We've reviewed anything we needed to review, and we're ready to get underway racing here. That was a pretty good race, don't you think, Jose? Solid domination here by Diego Iglesias.
It was good to see that Ferrari nice and comfortable up in the front. Definitely extended out quite a comfortable gap, so let's see what they're able to do this time around. Looks like we're getting ready to grid up now.
I do believe the grid is a little bit different now. We're about to see it right now.
Yep, should be coming up any second now. And there he goes.
There is our grid. Slightly different now. We have starting on pole position once again, Diego Iglesias. Second here on the front row is Emo Fittipaldi Jr. with the Hard Charger Award from last race here with a whole 15 spots taken starting from 17th. Impressive drive here for Emo to get himself on the front row for race 2. Followed by Francisco Creacia in 3rd. Eduardo Peccarini 4th. David Redman 5th. Bobby Ross 6th. Alessandro Di Tullio starting from 12th last time now is in 7th. Ryan Amoy in 8th. Pedro Iglesias 9th. Jerry DiPiero in 10th. Frankie Rosso 11th. And Rudy Ramsroof in 12th.
And starting in 13th, George DiPiero, followed by Matias Orjuela and Jordan Hernandez in P15. P16, Alejandro Arias, followed by Luke Pajola and Juan Arenas in P18. Cesar Lapointe, P19, Alexander Searle in P20, followed by Franco Chipulo, Xander Williams, Tyler Delgado, and Anthony Rand. Finishing up the grid there is Cesar Lapointe in P19, and Anthony Rand in P24, Tyler Delgado in P23, and we are off with the green for race 2 tonight. Anthony, go ahead.
Good. Right on time there as we watch Diego Iglesias go off, and it looks like we have a clean start this time here in race 2 as we have Diego Iglesias going off into the distance out of turn 1, and oh no, we have a we flipped over here at the end of turn 1. I spoke too soon as I think that might have been Peccarini or Creacia here, but the yellow machines here. We have another car going off track here, the Marlboro Ferrari going off in cold tires here, off in turn 2. Jose?
And it looks like Diego Iglesias got off to a clean start again, and Alessandro Di Tullio already up to P2, so it looks like he cleared that mess quite early and was able to get through and pick up quite a few positions there.
That was David Redman in the Marlboro Ferrari that went off into turn 2. Must have been a victim of the cold tires here. Let's see, who are we following now? This is a replay, right?
And it looks like Franco may have been involved in an accident again as we run the replay here. Let's see what happened here at turn 1.
Seems like he was getting a little hungry, going for a gap.
Big mess there. I wonder if he had a little bit of net code. I think he may have had a little bit of contact, but I think it was net code.
This is Franco we're watching here?
This is Franco we're on board right now, yes. Just,
no, he just looked... I think he hit the brakes too hard in trying to avoid an incident there. He lost it on his own there, unfortunately.
And jumping on board with our leaders again here.
Let's go ahead and see that.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's go ahead and see that live timing here, that grid.
Oh, sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Iglesias is still your leader here, but now the second place has swapped pretty heavily. It's Di Tullio now in second here, and Fittipaldi has dropped all the way down to 7th here. He'll have to try again at the Hard Charger Award as he has to make his way back to 2nd here. But your top 5 right now is Iglesias, Di Tullio, Amoy, Ross, and Lapointe. Lapointe, didn't he start all the way from 19th? Impressive drive here by Lapointe already, 14 spots up ahead. And just as I say that, Diego Iglesias went purple here in lap 2.
Yeah, and it looks like Emo's really going to have to push hard in that Audi if he's going to have to make up those 5 positions again. Looks like he dropped 5 positions from the start of the race throughout that mess that occurred at turn 1.
Now, which PR is that right there in 6th place in the golf scheme there? Well, the PR Bros always got some pretty nice paint schemes here in the races here.
That's gonna
Yep,
be
Jerry, of
Jerry.
course. Cherry's always got the swag here with, and just as I say that, we got Lightning McQueen right behind him here with Alejandro Arias there in the Lightning McQueen Ferrari, and they tapped there.
Oh.
Managed to catch that in time. No, we're good. We're good. Nothing happened. So, but yeah, he's still on him here. So we got some heavy action here between 7th and 8th here with Jerry DiPiero and Alejandro Arias here.
And did Franco make it back out of the pits? No, unfortunately, he is still in the pits there. Looks like
I think he might have towed by now, but now he has to undergo repairs. Actually, I don't see the car in the air yet, so I don't think he has finished towing. Oh, there it is. His body work is starting to get fixed up there. You should be seeing a hood be placed onto the car any minute now. So he's currently undergoing repairs here. God knows how long that'll take for his car. Maybe anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes.
Jumping on board here, one of the Mercedes of Tyler Delgado running in P22 right now.
Tyler Delgado is another driver here that has done a great job at moving up and, worthy of the Most Improved award here. Tyler, being one of the back markers here, has now made his way as a mid-packer here. As currently he's in 22nd here, but I've seen him better. I think he managed to actually score points in the season finale last week.
Well, and I think that specifically here in this track, being able to stay calm and being able to just have a plan in mind of perhaps even if you start off as a back marker and working your way up, probably it could work in your favor. You know, we saw that big accident in turn 1, so being able to just clear that, you're gonna jump through a ton of positions as he goes a little bit wide there.
Pays dividends, yeah. I see what you're trying to say. And what exactly is your leaderboard doing right now? There it is. Iglesias is still your leader here. Don't know by how much, though. Let's see. Cesar LePointe has dropped to 5th. Might have had a little bit of a tire in the dirt here.
And looks like Diego Iglesias has about a 4-second gap. Actually, that gap has actually increased. I wonder if Ryan had an accident there, because that gap went up about 4 seconds in the blink of an eye there. It's up at a 9-second gap now.
Definitely. So while we let Iglesias enjoy his Monday night drive here, let's go ahead and see what else we can find here on track.
Let's give Rudy some attention here. We haven't really watched a whole lot of Rudy tonight. Let's put him on the spot here and see what kind of lap he can give us tonight.
Rudy is definitely one of the safest drivers here. A big example and a good role model here of how you should compose yourself on track here, as he goes and does his best to also maintain a fast lap as well.
Yeah, I think this is a clear point of leading by example. We've had the conversation before where we really want drivers to exercise really good and proper racecraft, and I know that Rudy makes it a point to not only relay that information and those messages to the drivers, but also to act as if and be a safe driver on track. So big thanks to Rudy for being a positive influence with all these drivers tonight and in general.
Let me see what I can find here on track. I'll hop on my scanner here.
Yeah, it looks like we're halfway through already, and Iglesias still in P1, Amoyo's in P2, followed by DeTulio and Fittipaldi in P4. And who do we have in P5 now? It looks like somebody new was up there. Xander Williams in P. Actually, he's up to P3. It looks like either there's something wrong with the leaderboard here, or there is quite a bit of shuffling going on.
There it is. DeTulio has gone up to 3rd here, and I think Fittipaldi, did he change to... Yeah, he's not in 7th
P4,
anymore.
Yes, he's actually up to P4. So we've got 3 Ferraris and an Audi and a Mercedes. That Ferrari is really pushing tonight, and looks like the drivers really either they all talk to each other or they all decided to go with the Ferrari.
Go ahead and look at Alejandro Arias, who's got a fight right now with Bobby Ross as he tries to figure out a way to squeeze past through him. Bobby's not going to give him an inch, he'll take him out.
And Anthony, is that one of your paints on Bobby Ross's car?
No. Go ahead and I don't know if your trading paints is refreshed, but he is rocking one of my paint schemes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it should be on.
The auto refresh is a pretty useful feature. Nonetheless, here, that's a pretty interesting battle we got here. We got Bobby Ross, who, have, just as I say that, managed to extend his lead. Alejandro probably made a small mistake. So now the fight has turned actually to Matias Orjuela and Alejandro Arias. There's the paint scheme for Bobby there. It's influenced on another one of his favorite video games, Halo. Oh, and pretty sweet paint scheme by Frankie Barroso there with the Red Bull Racing theme now. It seems like Bobby has gotten a better exit here as he makes enough room to get on Frankie's bumper here. They go around to the circle here, and they're closer and closer here. Bobby's trying to figure out a way to go through Frankie as they make their way here to the last turn here to conclude the fifth lap and start the sixth. Matias Orjuelas is still behind them, trying to take advantage of any mistakes that they make further up ahead. But right behind them is Juan Arenas. We got some more action here in the YouTube chat here. We've got Joel Rubenstein cheering on David Redmond as well. Pedro Iglesias Sr. cheering, I'm guessing, his two sons, saying, Vamos ASiMRacing, lots of success. And Big H305 cheering on Jordan Hernandez. Big thank you to all you guys here tuning in. I'm sure you're some repeat viewers, but go ahead and share this to any of your friends that might enjoy some sim racing and racing content. We are the ASiMRacing Network, and we're here to stay. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see. And I'm going to go ahead and look through the racing chat here, the racing history, per so to say. This isn't the first black flag of the session. I've failed to recognize the ones from the previous race, but currently David Redmond was black flag. I wonder why. Alessandro Di Tullio and Cesar Lapointe, unfortunately, was black flag. Unfortunate for Cesar. He was doing so well up front.
And DeTulio, looks like that might have been a time penalty on that black flag because he is down to P4 now. Yep, looks like it was a black flag due to an off track.
Seems like Robert Garcia didn't start the race. Now I'm seeing here. Of course, the cleanest driver right now is your leader, who is pretty much alone by himself, Diego Iglesias. I'm looking down here. The next cleanest driver, I'm trying to see who that be. Might actually be George Pierre with 6 points. No, excuse me. It's actually Matias Orjuelas, followed by Francisco Crecia with 4 points. Bobby Ross needs to be careful. He's only 1 point away from being disqualified. And so is Alessandro. And Frankie Barroso, surprisingly as well. They might have been some victims of either lots of dropped wheels or lots of tapping.
Yeah, I see quite a bit of off tracks here on my.
Oh no! I believe Ross was contact with Arenas.
And looks like Franco's back out on track, but it looks like he may have had an accident. Let's take a look at the replay. See what happened here. Did he have an issue coming out of the pits, or looks like he just caught somebody there?
Ooh, and just as I'm seeing that, Juan Arenas was black flagged for that incident by race control, our in-house race control.
And Matt Gilbert in our YouTube chat saying, "Go Bobby." Thanks, Matt. Thanks for hanging out. Diego Iglesias now starting lap 6 and still in P1, followed by Ryan Moore. Emil Fittipaldi in P3, Xander Williams P4, and Cesar Lapointe in P5.
I hope Lapointe has served his penalty. Amazing lead by Diego Iglesias here. 15 whole seconds here, showing us all how it's done. He is definitely not lifted an inch off the gas here all race long, showing us all how it's done here. He's definitely mastered the Ferrari here. Another one of the drivers here that has made the sudden switch to the Ferrari 488.
We're jumping on board there. We haven't really shown too much of a cockpit shot, but we want to jump on board and see just how smooth this lap is in the Ferrari.
I'm already seeing how he handled that last turn. Definitely dominated that curve here. Not wasting any time as he cuts through it. Let's see how he goes through here. One of the more tricky parts of the turn here. Very nice late apex as well. Making sure he has some good straight exits.
There's that triple apex we were talking about earlier. Keep it nice and clean through there.
Oh, getting a little squirrelier.
He caught it.
He's not going to let that affect him as he goes through the last turn here to start the last lap. White flag here in race 2 of the iRysa GT3 series.
And just an absolutely dominating drive by Diego Iglesias tonight. Still a 14-second gap to Ryan behind him. He's comfortable. He's definitely comfortable in that Ferrari. Looks like he made the best of Circuit of the Americas tonight. I still continue to believe that this is, at least for me, quite the complex track. So it's great to see that drivers are really making the best out of it here tonight.
Definitely impressive drive here. He's definitely shown he's adapted to it the best. I'm looking here in the leaderboard as well. Xander Williams is definitely, as of now, your hard charger war with 18 whole spots gained on. And I'm taking a look here. I'm trying to guess here. It's about almost a second between Amoys and Fittipaldi there. I wonder if we've got a fight there. I'm going to go ahead and scan the rest of the track and see if we can find any last lap action.
And Diego's coming up through the last several corners here. He's got less than a half lap left to go. It's going to be a double win here for Diego tonight for the iRysa GT3 Season 2 opener.
And if he did manage to get the fastest laps in both races here, he would have completely swept the week here. As we see Diego Iglesias going to the last turn in his green Ferrari. Diego Iglesias is your winner here in race 2. And also in race 1, sweeping the COTA weekend here for the iRysa Championship. But we've got a last second battle here. Fittipaldi going wide here. See, Amoys made a slight mistake. It's a drag race here, and Fittipaldi tries to nudge his way through, and it's a photo finish. Amoys managed to get second here by 1/1000th of a second. Impressive drive here by Amoys and Fittipaldi.
And as some of the cars here round up the last part of the race. Pecorini goes through in 4th. Cesar Lapointe in 5th. Jerry DiPiero in 6th. Matias Orjuela in 7th. Juan Arenas in 8th. And it looks like Alejandro Arias is going to be coming up in 9th. And Pedro Iglesias rounding up your top 10.
Whew. That I'm still left speechless on that last turn pass there, or that attempt there
That
with
was a
Fittipaldi boys.
great battle. They kept it clean. A little bit of a tap, but I think it was a clean attempt. Go ahead, Anthony.
Without a doubt, our closest finish yet. I'm pretty sure we've had, if I recall, a photo finish before in the Miata series with Alessandro and RC, but that was for sure the closest finish yet.
Absolutely.
Overall, great race here. We'll have to go ahead and look through our officials here to make any last post-race decisions here. But overall, my thoughts, good race here. Maybe we could have done things a little more cleaner. But what do you think, Jose?
So it was a great race. Unfortunately, some big accidents at turn 1 on that first race. I can't say I was entirely surprised, but it's such a tough turn 1 that I'm sure drivers really made an effort to keep that clean. Just some of them got caught out.
Definitely, I agree. And well, that's it for our time here at Coda. I do believe our next one is Daytona, correct, Jose?
Yes, it's going to be Daytona International Speedway.
Oh, you can tune in next week on Monday here for Daytona. Until then, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jose, and have a great evening, everybody. Have
Have
a good
a great
night.
evening. Stay safe.